make something, cut it out on the laser cutter. Red text means stop. You need to take notes. Green text means go, do what it says. Black text means learn something new. Here's what we're going to try to do: master drawing with the pen tool. Understand how to trace with the pen tool. We're going to understand layers, and we're going to figure out how to use a laser cutter with Illustrator. That's the goals of this assignment. Alright, make sure you've done the sketch first. So take a look at this. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so you should have done the sketch first. Okay, and the important thing is that you get an idea of what you want this thing to do. You're going to cut something out on the laser cutter, and how big is it going to be? What is it going to look like? So make sure you've done this. And make sure that there's measurements on it, because we're going to need to know that. And then you're going to look at the grade scale for the pen tool challenge. Go to my website and look at this and go over this too, so you kind of know how I'm grading you. So pause the video, go to my website, find those two documents, and make sure those are taken care of. And then, now that you've looked at the grade scale and everything, what's an intelligent question you have about this assignment? And I'll quiz you on that in class. Okay, find a picture on the internet and save it into your pen tool folder in a folder called Assets. Do all this stuff. Okay, so basically what you're going to do, you're going to do something like this. The first thing you're going to do is we're going to trace something. Trace something that you want. So if my son said, "Dad, make me a sword on your laser cutter," because he's 5 and he wants swords. Can you make a sword? Absolutely not, because this is school and you can't have deadly weapons in school. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to type in sword, and we're going to search for a sword. And we'll find one, hopefully. And once it finds it, we're going to go to images, and we're going to find a sword. So my son had a specific sword that he wanted. So I'm going to use that one instead of this one. Anyway, let's say I wanted this one. This is a beautiful sword. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say save image as. Save image as. Okay, I'm going to say save image as, and I'm going to save it into the correct folder. So I'm going to go to the folder with my name on it. I'm going to make a new folder called Creative Apps or Creative Computers. I'm going to make a folder called Illustrator, and inside there I'm going to make a folder called Pen Tool Challenge, and inside there I'm going to make a folder called Assets, and I'm going to save it there. I have no idea why this is running so slow, but pardon me. Alright, so you're going to go to the computer. You're going to find a folder with your name on it. You're going to go to Creative Computer. You're going to go to Illustrator. You're going to go to Pen Tool Challenge. And then inside there you're going to make a folder called Assets. And then you're going to save the sword. I already did, but there it is. Okay? So your folder with your name on it, Creative Computer, Illustrator, Pen Tool Challenge, Assets. That's where the picture goes. Okay, so find a nice picture that's not too hard but not too easy, something that you're going to enjoy doing. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Illustrator. So open up Adobe Illustrator and pause the video until you do, so you can do this with me. And we're going to make a new document. So File, New. So for me, I decided my sword, I want it to fit on, I want to make it as big as I can in the laser cutter. Okay, so the laser cutter, it's 24 inches wide is the widest and 12 inches high is the tallest. So you decide what you're going to do with it, how big yours needs to be. It can't be any bigger than this. Okay, but it can be smaller than that, but it has to be the right size for what you're trying to build. Okay, and then click OK. I'm going to hit cancel because I've already done it, and then I'm going to File, Save As, and we're going to save it in that same folder. So you're going to save it in the Pen Tool Challenge folder right there. So I called mine Pen Tool Challenge Brian Miller. Okay, but I've already done that. Okay, the next step is you're going to get the picture in here. So we're going to go File, Place. Okay, and you're going to go into that Assets folder, and then I'm going to find my sword and I'm going to place it in here. Okay, and so for me, I want the sword to be as big as possible, so I'm going to twist it around, twist it back, and I'm going to expand it out. And I'm going to press Shift so it doesn't get all crazy. Okay, so you can see that it pixelates and it doesn't look super good, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to still be able to get it how I want. Okay. So press Shift so that it doesn't get all fat or too skinny. So I'm going to make it just about the size of this document because I want it to be nice and big. This will be nice and fun. Okay, that's right. So when I get it done, I hit Enter, and it's done. Okay, now I don't want to mess this picture up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this layer. And I'm never gonna touch this thing. And so, let's go back to the PowerPoint real quick because we need to talk about these things. Okay, hold on. Okay, so a layer is like a clear piece of plastic that you can draw on. So see this kid right here? They're drawing on a clear sheet of plastic. Well, if they got another sheet of plastic and put it on top, they could draw on another layer of plastic, and then they could do more drawings on a different layer. And the nice thing about that is, you could draw on the top layer and never mess up this layer. Okay, and then the other nice thing is like the layer below can show through the layer on top. So a layer is like you got to write this in red. That it's a good place to keep artwork separate, reorder it, and place some artwork on top of another. So the other nice thing is like if you had this at the bottom and all of a sudden, oh, I want that on top, you could move it around. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with our layers. Okay, so I have this layer. Okay, so now I'm going to make a brand new layer. I'm going to click on top of it. So I can't mess around with the layer. I can draw on this layer. And I'm going to call this layer, I'm going to name this layer. So I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to call this Sword Outline. Okay, you should give all your layers nice names. Okay, so now there's a couple things you need to remember. Number one, some of the things that we're going to do are going to be cutting layers. So I need to cut this sword out. But other things are just things I want burnt as color on the thing. So I'm going to start off with the outline. Okay, so it's important to know where you're going to start. Okay, so for me, I'm going to probably do the handle right here. So I'll click here, and I'll just do a straight line for the handle. Okay, so I've got my straight line, and then I'm going to come here. And then I might have to blow this up. At any rate, so I'm not going to belabor it and show you how to draw because I already did that. Okay, so I'm going to I'll get this done and I'm going to come back to you guys. Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have finished tracing this thing. So I have my layer here and I can turn off the picture, so you can see I've done a fairly decent job of tracing this thing. And one thing to remember, I want to remind you again, when you're drawing, look ahead at what you're doing. Don't worry about what's behind because you can always go back and fix things. Okay, so for example, hold on, let's look at our PowerPoint real quick. Let's look at our PowerPoint. Okay, so we want to go to the next slide. Okay, so place the picture in the document, lock it, name the layer correctly. We've already done this. What's next on our spiel? Alright, so one thing to remember, write this down. More anchors is lumpy. The less the anchors, the smoother the drawing. Draw with as few as anchors as possible. Look ahead and not behind. Okay, so you can always go back and fix it because we're going to look at the next slide. Not that one, but this one. The selection tool, the convert anchor point tool, and the add anchor point tool. Okay, so let's just look at some of these things and what you can do. Okay, so with the direct selection tool, let's say that I've drawn it and I don't like it. Well, I can always go back and I can use this tool right here. It's called the direct selection tool. I can click on an anchor and I can move it, make it how I like. I can click on the handle, adjust that. Okay, I wouldn't do that, so I'm going to undo those. I'm going to press Control Z and Z to go back. The other thing you can do is the Add Anchor Point tool. So I can click on this, and let's say I felt like I should have another anchor there. I click on that, and I can go to my Direct Selection tool, and now I can adjust that new anchor. Okay. And then the other thing I can do, I can't remember what it was. Oh, the Convert Anchor Point tool. Okay, so the Convert Anchor Point tool is this tool right here. I can click on this and go to the Convert Anchor Point tool. Let's say this is a curve and I want to turn it into a point. Well, I can press Alt. I can click on this thing, press Alt, and I can convert it to a point. Okay, or I could click on this and I can convert it to a curve using the Convert Anchor Point tool. Okay, so you can always go back and you can fix a lot of things. Okay, let's see what's next on the PowerPoint. Okay, so use separate layers for each shape, okay, and give each layer a good name. So here's what we're going to do. Let's turn back on our artwork. So I did the sword outline in one thing, so I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to call this I'm going to call it yellow or fire, okay? Because we have the yellow fire in here. So I don't want that cut out. I want that burned out on the laser cutter. So when we're going to go to do this, so this is going to be on a separate layer called fire, and we can even color it yellow if we would like. So I'll start here, and then I'm going to go to here, and you can see that I totally blew that. So I'll have to come back, press the Alt key, come around, come here, come here. So you can see how I'm kind of doing this. At any rate, I'm not going to do too much, but oh, you know what I'm going to do is one thing that we can do is on the color. So we'll go to the eyedropper tool and say, oh, I want this color right here, and so you can see that my thing became, and that's kind of a mustardy color. Let's go more of that. So I can use the eyedropper tool to select the color, and I'll keep on drawing. But so one layer is going to be the outline, and each thing will be a separate layer. This will be a layer. This should be on that same layer. This will probably be on its own layer. So I'm going to just keep drawing and drawing until I get it right. Okay. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for